What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Friarside Chat. This is episode number 3. The Padres are just coming off of 2 losses from the Pittsburgh Pirates at home. Tough pill to swallow, much like the rest of the season. But, hey, let's cut to the chase. Is it time to trade?
Yes, no, maybe. I don't know. I feel like if you can't handle the Pirates at home, a sub 500 team again, what are your realistic chances of making a run?
Right.
Where are you at?
Well, and okay, here's an interesting take, though. Every year it seems like there's these matchups, right? Like
us to the Dodgers.
Yeah, Padres against the Dodgers, right? And then could it just be that it's Pirates match up really well against the Padres?
No. And there's stats to back that up because against 500 teams, we're under 500.
Losing to everybody.
And it's not just the Pirates. Yeah. That being said, let's look back to the Phillies last year, right? So the Phillies were struggling real bad. Managerial changes happening. Like all these things were going wrong for the Phillies. They stay the course. They right the ship. And then they make a run to the World Series. Like, could that be us? The makings are there. They had underperforming superstars last year. That's us this year. My problem with it is that it seems to be every game they find a new way to lose, and there hasn't been anything that's really made me feel better about it. Every now and then they give you that win where they hit a bunch of home runs, and it's like, as a fan, you're like, this is awesome. Can they do this again tomorrow? More often than not, no.
I think I said that to you the other day, right? It was like, I want to see a Padre game where they win a game without hitting a home run. Like, just get guys on, get them in, make it happen. Don't have to hit the long ball as your only method of scoring.
Prove that you can win without hitting the home run.
And I just haven't seen that yet.
Yeah. I would love to see a stat on that of how many games they've won this year without a home run.
Right. It's probably like none.
Close to, I feel. Yeah. Because, again, the runners in scoring position thing has been well documented as an issue. But what I love that you brought up earlier off camera was we're not winning getaway day. And for those of you at home, that's the day before you get on the flight back home. And as a team, it doesn't really go noted in the papers, but like, that affects how you feel about that trip. Yeah. As baseball players, we had it in college where if you won the last game of the series, that drive home is so different than if you lost.
A whole another aspect of just like, getting on a roll.
Yeah.
And it's just...
And feeling good about the trip in general.
Yeah. Well, because even if you lose, let's say you lose the first 2, it was always like, well, hey, if we take this third game, like that's a momentum builder. Exactly. And it's just, they've been the opposite.
They're momentum stoppers.
Yeah, they come out of the gates hot, hit 5 home runs in a game. That's how you win. And then, play pretty good the second game. And the third game, they're just dead. Just not even there.
Yeah, I don't want to think that they're phoning it in because I don't think they're phoning it in on the last day. But like, if you look at the stats, that's what it's going to tell you. They're not hitting with runners in score.
Yeah,
you actually ran the stats.
Yeah, I have it up right here. So the last 3 series, right, was at Toronto, at Detroit, and then home against Pittsburgh. And so I pulled the team stats, specifically runners in scoring position, from the third game of each one of those series. Toronto, 0 for 7 with runners in scoring position. Detroit, 1 for 6 with runners in scoring position. And Pittsburgh, 0 for 5 runners in scoring position. But that's 1 for 18.
Is that good?
Really good.
Doesn't get the job
1 for 18.
Okay, we're veering off.
Yeah.
Do you sell? Vince, do you sell? You always back up on my position, so I'm going to make you go
first.
As a fan,
I say no. But if I'm a GM, if I strip myself away from just being a fan, I am. But I'm not. I'm selling. I'm not phoning it in. Yep. I'm just selling, I guess, in a strategic way to where it's, is it Blake Snell? Is it Hader?
It's not a fire sale, but it's let's try and get something for someone that can help us be in a better position next year.
Yeah. And so for me, it's like, it's probably those 2 guys, because it's like Suarez is back, so I could see him filling in as a closer role. Before his return, I was like, can't get rid of Hader because no one else can close out a game. Or I don't trust anyone to really close out a game, Not that they couldn't, but I don't have the same confidence. But now that Suarez is back, like that guy is just a horse. He obviously gave up a bomb yesterday, I think. But, he's coming back from
his
injury.
First time going back-to-back games.
He's got great stuff. He had, a great year last year. It's just like that trust factor for me is there.
Yeah, he looks good. He looks good again.
Right. And so it's like, as much as I love having Josh Hader on the team, it's like he might be one of those guys who it's like, well, you know, he's one of the best closers in the game. You could get back,
some would argue.
Yeah, you could get back, you know, either another starting pitcher and a relief pitcher or whatever it might be.
Yeah, get something of good value.
Something like, you know, just like we've always been talking about bolstering, right? And then I think with Snell, you could probably, you know, make a couple moves. You could get a pitcher and another infielder or outfielder, you know, like there's some of those young guys like Batten or the new Cowley and like those guys, I don't know.
They're not cutting it right now.
They're not cutting
You're
it.
trying to beat around the bush. They're not cutting it.
Yeah.
Okay, so I slightly disagree. I think Hader, we're talking about bolstering more often the relief pitching staff because it's been hit with injuries. Suarez coming back helps with that. I would like to keep Hader. I think he likes it in San Diego. Some of the reporters went up to him, and he spoke very highly of his family life in San Diego, the vibe, the city, the teammates. So that's a guy where in my head I'm going, re-sign that guy. He's bought in. Yeah, you re-sign guys that are bought in and really want to be there. And Snell really likes it here. He likes his teammates. He has great relationships with people around the ballpark, within the organization. But he's going to be expensive. Like it's a given. Right. He's on a Cy Young tear right now where he's trying to he has a chance, if he keeps doing what he's doing, to actually win, which I didn't think was possible after his start. So for me, given how expensive it would be to re-sign Snell, I would like to get something for him right now after seeing that the Angels just gave away their 2 and 3 prospect for Giolito. Snell's better than Giolito, and they got that return on him. So, you know,
who could you get? Yeah.
Who could you get?
Right.
And that's a piece where, again, that would leave a hole in our starting rotation. You're really asking a lot of someone to step up, but I feel like the return would be worth it if you don't think that we're going to make the realistic run. I feel just like, as a fan, the last thing you want to see is a missing of the playoffs, and you have nothing in the system. You have Batten and Cowley to look towards for next year versus maybe get rid of one piece like Snell and get some pieces that you can be really excited about for a good push next year with a fresh slate. I keep Soto. Soto's going to be
my next.
Going to be necessary for the runs even this year and next. So that's where I stand on it. Okay. I think we're kind of in the same boat, but I have a feeling that they still have a chance. Like I have not thrown away this season yet.
Right. Well, we got 4 days until the trade deadline. So, who knows? I mean, we still have
the Rangers.
Yeah, series against the Rangers. I don't know.
Bochy's coming to town.
I know. That'll be sick.
Why can't he come here?
Peavy's going into the Padres Hall of Fame on Friday.
That's exciting.
Yeah, that's
love
pretty
that
cool,
guy.
Right?
It seems like I didn't realize how much he really identified with the Giants because he went there and spent a lot of time there.
Well, did he win World Series with them?
Yes, he did.
Did he win with the Red Sox too?
I'm not sure. But either way, like he's like a Giants guy now.
Yeah.
And he was like, coming back to Petco Park, I really remember all the fond memories. It wasn't like at the forefront of his mind, but happy to have him in the Padre Hall of Fame. He deserves it. He was amazing.
That dude was awesome.
Again,
I just remember, like being a kid, and it's like when Peavy was on the mound, like you're hyped.
Win.
Yeah.
You're gonna get a win.
Or if not, just his competitiveness. Like that's what I loved about him, like he would always like yell at himself. I loved that though. Like I loved the dog in him, as they say nowadays.
Every little league coach hated it though, because then when their kids starting to scream and have a tantrum on the field, they're like, "But Jake Peavy shows emotion."
Yeah,
I can too. It's like, you get to the bigs,
but no, like, and I can attest from our playing days, being a defender, that was the guy I want on the mound. Yep. I want to play defense behind a guy like that because I know that he's going after these guys. You know what I mean?
Bulldog.
There was nothing worse. There was a couple times, where the guy on the mound had no confidence, and just as a defender, you're like, oh god.
Walking the World was the worst pitcher to have on the mound because you get lulled to sleep watching ball 1. Right. Ball 2, ball 3, strike 1.
Well, and just their body language, and you knew too. When you get into certain counts, you're like, this guy isn't going to challenge him because he doesn't have confidence in himself. He's going to go
even challenge. He can't locate it.
Either way, right?
Yeah,
exactly.
Well, so it'll be nice to see him go into the Hall of Fame.
Yep.
We do have the Rangers coming, and the Padre fan base. A lot of them are tried and true.
Yeah.
But let's be real, a lot of them are fickle. San Diego, as a town, is where people come from other places.
Yep.
Come here, go, oh, it's great. The weather's awesome. Let's stay here.
Yeah.
So not as many born and raised fans. But when we're going right, this city rallies, big-time rallies. And they get behind the Padres. So if they can sweep. I'm getting really big on this. If they can sweep the Rangers, your fan base is bought right back in.
That would be a huge momentum shift, like for the team, the city, like, everything like that. Honestly, if that happened, I feel like a lot of maybe opinions and whatnot will change.
100%. So it's kind of a must-win series, must-sweep series to really get people to buy in.
Through. You have to. I mean, even this Pirates series, that was like a must-win series too, and
it felt like it.
They didn't. But yeah, I just looked it up too. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday against the Rangers, Musgrove Friday, Darvish Saturday, Snell Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, you've got your horses,
unless he's traded. But I mean, those are the guys.
Yeah.
If there's any three starters that you want up against one of the better teams in baseball, that's what you want.
Rotation. Exactly. Is going to be those three in some way.
Rotation against a playoff team. They're hot right now too. Didn't they have like the most All-Stars starting like ever or something? Or it was like them and the Braves, like half of the All-Star team were really the starters of that team.
Really good. And they've showed up. Good for the Rangers. They went out and got pieces and it paid off. They don't even have DeGrom right now, which is crazy. Right. Bochy comes in, does what Bochy does, and handles a championship team.
Calming presence or something.
His big head. He's awesome. But so we have that to look forward to. I really do think if they sweep it changes everything. Yeah. And Bogarts and them were talking about it. Basically just being, you saw in the clubhouse that everyone was just kind of deflated after the Pittsburgh loss because it felt like the tide was turning. Yeah. You have that 5-1 win that felt amazing. It was one of their most complete games ever. Starting pitching does a great job. Relievers close the door, and they're the guys who are meant to. Offense hit with runners in scoring. We hit the home runs. Yep. I mean, it even had a little drama in there where everyone was kind of getting juiced. Full house. Fans were loving it. And then you go to the next game. It's a little slow, but then you get into the ninth with Bednar, their all-star closer, and it all started with Bogarts getting that 12-pitch walk.
Yeah, I mean, that was a huge at-bat.
Huge at-bat. And then Campy, tip the cap to Campy coming up.
He's been doing great, by the way. I don't know if we'll have devote a whole segment to it necessarily, but him and Sanchez I've been so happy with.
We have two catchers hitting in our lineup, whereas before it was like, how can we hide our catchers at bat?
I know. Now we're DHing them because they need to be in the lineup every day.
100%. Yeah. So you got Campy comes up with a single, hit by pitch, Cronenworth, base is loaded. You're feeling really good. You got Soto coming to the plate who had the day off. Yep. He draws a 4-pitch walk, not a single strike.
Didn't want any piece of Soto.
Didn't want any bit of it. But like at the same time, that guy is officially laboring. We're talking 30-plus pitches. And then you got Cowley coming up, and you're like, ooh, I hope the rookie comes through. It could be a big moment for his career just to kind of like gain confidence, feel good. Yep. Almost the worst thing happens, which is he gets beat inside. Jammed.
To be honest, as a player, that frustrated me more than like striking out.
100%.
Right?
Because he beat you.
It's like the worst. It's like the worst outcome. Because it's like, well, guess what? It's like the easiest out, and then guess what? Even if they like somehow fall over and miss it, it's still a strike.
Yes, that, and it takes less pitches than it can. Tough for him. He didn't want to do that. No, of
course.
But then you got Trent Grisham who comes up, strikes out, and oh my God, we blew it. You know, we had him on the ropes. Yeah. Fun fact about Bednar. That guy hadn't given up a run on the road all year.
Really?
We got one on him. That's something. But it doesn't feel that good when you lose.
What, 3 walks? 3 walks on a knock? Walk.
2 walk, a knock.
I thought it was, hit by pitch. Hit by pitch. So it was walk, base hit by pitch, walk.
Only we would break down the whole inning and then not know the summary of the inning. So that one really hurt. And, is what it is.
Yeah. We talked about in the last podcast how, as Machado goes, the team goes. It was very interesting to say looking numbers wise. So here, I'll just read you a couple stats real quick. So lost to Toronto. That last game was Machado 0 for 4. Beat Detroit. Machado goes 1 for 3 with a walk. It's 500 on base percentage. So good game. When we beat Detroit again, Machado goes 2 for 5 with a home run. When we lose to Detroit, he goes 0 for 3.
Sensing a trend.
Lost for Pittsburgh. He goes 1 for 4. I think it was just like a single or something. And we beat Pittsburgh. He goes 1 for 2 with a homer and a walk and a hit by pitch. And then we lose against Pittsburgh. He goes 1 for 4, but that was that pop up. That was an out. So I was just like, as I was looking through those numbers, I'm like, wait,
There's something
as
here.
we said. And I don't know. It could be somewhat coincidental. It could be,
Vince, you're a
pulling
genius.
stats, whatever. But I was just like, I just wanted to look at it just because we brought it up last time. And I was just like, are we blowing smoke or is there something to this, like actually like statistical? And just based off of that, I mean, it's a little compelling.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, if you even went back and ran stats, I think it would back your statement. I think it's really good. But let's look at who's in front of us, right?
Yeah,
I mean, we're out of the NL West. I mean, we're
it's
10
not
and a half games back.
Yeah.
It's just not going to happen.
Yep.
That being said, the wild card looks way more promising than it should. We're 6.5 games back, and the people in front of us, I don't think have it on lock. They're not playing great, and they're teams that I think if you put us in a series against them, we should win. Granted, we should beat a lot of teams, but
we say that a
we
lot.
match up well against a lot of these teams. So you've got, who do you got? Arizona.
Let's see. I can
They're
just
kind
read
of
from the
falling
top. So it's
out.
like, I got the wild card picture right here. We've got San Francisco, Philadelphia, and Cincinnati right now have the 3 spots.
How about Cincy, huh?
Right?
Young guys.
That's a fun team. But they almost have the same exact record. They're 56 and 47, 55 and 47, 56 and 48. So they're like basically all tied. And then, so those are the 3 top spots. And then Arizona, Miami, and Chicago Cubs are ahead of the Padres.
Quickly.
But not by a lot.
Can the Padres play better than all of those teams from here on out? From here on out. English.
I mean, I would love to say so. I'm just going to need to see.
I'm going to say yes.
To see the fight.
They can do it. That's what I'm talking about when trade deadline talk comes up.
Yeah.
We don't want to sell, and by not selling, you're showing a vote of confidence in these guys, and they will feel it. You can feel in that clubhouse right now, they feel like they're letting down their teammates who want to stay here, like they're going to be sold.
Right.
And that's disappointing. So you take that off, trade deadline ends, everyone's still here. It's like, F yeah. We've got our guys. We didn't lose anybody. They believe in us. Let's go prove them right. I think there will be that sense if they're able to keep everybody, and they can go on a tear. You talked about it the other podcast, what we have in the last month, the last 2-3 weeks. So if you keep everybody, that's a really good stretch to go through to try and really make up some ground here in the wild card.
No. Well, and then after the 3 games set against Texas, we're then going to Colorado for 3. So I know we don't play great in Colorado, but it's
Colorado.
The worst team in baseball right now, or National League, I should say. Knock on wood, because Padres. But yeah, I mean, even just like, we just talked about the standings, but I'm just looking at it has the little, last 10 game win-lose record for these teams ahead of us on the wild card, and it's Chicago's playing well. They're 7-3 in the last 10, but like Miami's 2-8. Arizona 3-7, San Francisco 4-6, Philly 5-5, Cincy 6-4. So it's 4 of those 6 teams have a losing record over the last 10. At least Padres are even, well, which is so weird, right? Because we played 500 ball over the last
and made up some ground.
Yeah, we got like a game, like we gained a game or 2.
See, I hear that stat and it still makes me more frustrated because I'm like, oh, you mean if we won the games we should have won, we would have made like a tear?
Yeah, we would be
of
like right there.
All right. I want to take you to some drama. What was your thought on Machado getting plunked and the ejection? Because I was there at the game.
Yeah,
I lost my voice screaming at the pitcher. I thought it was the weakest-ish I have seen.
Yeah.
Because it's funny. The media was saying like, oh, Soto watched the ball a little too long.
I've seen way worse. Like,
he didn't
not even
watch it
worse.
that long.
I've seen way longer. Yeah, like guys pimping their homers.
Yeah, he didn't pimp it even. He dropped his bat and started jogging. So, like, it wasn't something egregious happened where, I mean, Soto's shuffle to the pitcher was more egregious than how he watched and flipped the bat because he didn't do either, really.
Yeah.
So, really weak move by that pitcher. The guy sits like 94, 96. He humped that one up to 98. He gassed that thing into his back. And oh my God, I was losing my mind. But what was your take on it? Because you got to watch it from home.
Yeah.
I didn't get to hear commentary.
I kind of, it took me a second to even like realize what was going on. Like obviously saw the bomb from Soto, hyped. And the next pitch Machado's hit, and I was just like, I was kind of blank for a second. And I was like, oh, is that on purpose? I was like, wait, what?
You had to question it a little bit.
I did.
Like, that's
didn't
kind of
really
new
make
in this
sense.
game.
I was like, that doesn't.
People
Makes
don't get mad
sense.
about that anymore.
Yeah.
It was weird.
Especially because I was like, and like my first thought was like, oh, did Soto do something else? And then of course they showed it again. I was like, not really. Just hit a bomb.
You know what's funny? Manny Machado, people are giving him a lot of credit for maturing and not charging the mound, right? Like he would have probably in his past.
Yeah.
And even he said in the after the post game, like, maybe I have matured because a couple years ago I might still be out there kicking this guy's ass.
I thought it was classic. I think Machado was something he was like, you would think I'd get some respect after 10 years, 300 bombs.
Yeah.
But maybe not.
Well, what was weird too,
Yeah.
I think Machado took extra offense to it, A, because of what you just said, but B, because it's like, it's the Pirates. What are we doing? This isn't a rivalry plunking.
Right, it's like it was
this
the
is like, you guys
Dodgers
are a
or-
sub 500 team who's been kicking our ass. Why are you taking offense to a home run? You know, it just didn't make sense for the anger or for the retaliation. Dumb. Really dumb.
was
That
dumb.
pitcher was dumb, and that's why he got a 3-game suspension.
Well,
The league kind of cracked down on it.
what
I was happy to see
about, I thought it was kind of interesting too, right? So like the whole thing goes down and then the umpires then get together and it sounded like they talked about it for a good little while. And then I was surprised, like, warnings I think are pretty much the standard right now. It was like, okay, we deem that this was potentially purposeful. Warning, but they just cut to the chase. They're like, no, you're out, dog. Like,
Kind
I
of
don't
liked
know.
it,
Is that- you
honestly,
like it?
because it wasn't. There's ways that you hit somebody. If it's in the ass or the leg, that's kind of the standard, right? Especially when you throw hard. It's more important nowadays because they throw harder. They're throwing 98, 100. You hit him in the soft spots, and he hit him square in the back. And it looked like there was a lot of intent. He humped it up, and it was just dumb. I mean, I think that's what it comes down to. It was like egregiously dumb. So they're like, just get it out of here. We don't want to have another situation because the way that the game was going,
yeah.
it was 4-1, 5-1. Doesn't matter.
5, I think. 5,
Yeah, 5-1. The Padres can so easily in that late inning come up and just drill their guy
Yeah.
if the warnings are out. Doesn't matter because the game's already almost
Right.
won. So by throwing them out, it was like, all right, we're going to take care of this so that someone else doesn't get plunked because it's ripe for it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so easy for them to do it. Granted, tip of the cap to Nick Martinez, who's got Machado's back. 8th inning next game, 2 outs, hits their leadoff hitter. And he does it right. He hit him right in the buns,
One of the
the
booty
legs.
cheeks. Yeah.
That's how you do it. But that's
And
the unwritten game.
I think bring up a
Unwritten
good
rules.
point too with like actually doing the ejection right away. I think was probably good because one, it's like it sure does seem like it was some intent behind it, but then also too, like I feel like I've seen so many instances where
Back and forth.
probable intentional being the warnings go out, the team that just got hit. Who's like, why are you warning us for? We didn't do anything.
Yeah, we don't get to retaliate.
Yeah, exactly.
And nothing happens to them.
And then like the next inning, like the umpire becomes hypersensitive.
Yep.
So then a pitcher's afraid to go inside because then anything that's, even like close to inside, they're like, oh, retaliation, you're out. So
That's a good point.
I've seen that a lot. So it's like maybe I don't know if that was factored into their decision. Probably not. But
I like it though.
but I think it's another reason why, I think it was the right call for them to make.
I think even if I'm the opposing fan, it still works in your favor. Your guy's not going to get hit. That guy's out of the inning. Whatever. You lose one relief pitcher for a couple days, but at least it's not going back and forth. I don't know. Pittsburgh fans probably don't agree with that.
Right.
But who cares? They're Bucks fans. They kicked our buns. But yeah, they get the last laugh. They took 2 of 3 from us.
Yep.
Hedges
After
is
sweep
laughing
at
his
home last
way
time.
to sub 200 hitting and sticking it to us still.
Yep. Not great. As a last little segment here, I just want to revisit our 85 roughly, wins to get us that minimum shot. And to be honest, it's probably like 85 to 90. Like I would want more than 85. But let's see. Based off where we're at right now, Padres would have to go to get to that mark, like we did last episode, 39 and 27, which is still like just about 600 baseball.
12 games over 500.
Which means you got to start winning series. Well, I
12
mean, to be
games
fair,
over
they
500.
are winning series. They just have to be more consistent, right? And that's why it would have been huge to take that last one against Pittsburgh, because then you would have won the last 3 series, right? So that's 667 if they had won that last game against Pittsburgh.
It's weird to look at that sub 500 team coming to town and that series feeling so big, and each game feeling so big. Mm-hmm. Really speaks to where they're at, in a not so great way. But yeah, I have hope in the Padres. I think once the trade deadline talk is done, like I think everybody's kind of on the fence about like what's going to happen, and you feel it in the clubhouse. You don't know if that was Snell's last start at home. You don't know a lot of things, and I feel like when you don't know something, that's where anxiety comes in, right? And once the variables are gone and you know what you got, you can really just move forward.
Yeah.
Hopefully they do it.
But yeah, huge series coming up though against Texas. I'm really excited for it.
Should be a really fun. It
should be
watch.
really
like
good.
as baseball fans. That should be a really fun.
As far as like talent on the field, I don't know if it gets much better.
Not only that, the Padres are a wounded dog in an alley, and the Rangers are trying to take their last piece of food. I mean, you're going to see playoff intensity out of the Padres.
Well, and they're still battling for first place at the Astros right now.
They are. I mean, they have something to fight for, and they're coming to a team that they should beat in the Padres based off of record, but it's not the same Padres, I don't think. I mean, they're on their last leg. They defend it with everything they got. It'll be fun to watch. I'm excited. They got their horses running. We do too.
Let's do it.
We'll revisit. Hopefully we're smiling more next week.
Yeah, I would love to have, at least give me better than 500. Give me a winning record going to this next episode next week. I'll be over the moon.
You know what I'd want to do? Not talk about the trade deadline or how we're underperforming.
I just want to talk about like, hey, what a great week we had.
Why don't we just talk about like Ha-Sung Kim and how great he's been? That would be a really fun
I feel
segment.
like that's the guy we haven't talked about too much. Honestly, yeah. Even we talked a little bit about Hader today, but I feel like that guy has just been solid, just so good. And we didn't really talk about him, so I'd shout out for both those guys.
Yeah.
Ha-Sung
Kim.
Ha-Sung Kim, yeah. Well, we'll sign off with Ha-Sung Kim.
Ha-Sung Kim.
Yeah, that guy's awesome. All right, that does it for this episode. Thank you again, everybody, for listening this week. Hope you got something out of it. Let us know if you got any questions, comments, anything. We'd be happy to respond.
Are we crazy to have hope? Let us know.
Yeah, that's fair. All right, see ya.